If I want to push a baby out my vagina, I can. That's true.
It's true.
Hi, welcome to our channel. If you would like to see more videos, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Today we're going to be talking about vaginal births after cesareans. We've had some requests from some of our subscribers, and so today that's what we're doing.
Today's the day.
Today's the day you've all been waiting for. You asked for it, and you're gonna get it. We want to kind of tackle that a little bit about what that looks like, what the risks are, how you can accomplish that, and who will allow you to do that. And I hate that word allow.
I hate that
God.
word so
It's
bad.
like triggering.
I'm
every time I say it, I'm triggered.
Triggered.
I even hate the word triggered. The word triggered triggers me. VBACs or HBACs, and so that is a vaginal birth after a cesarean or a home birth after a cesarean. In all honesty, we have a really high cesarean rate here, and I'm sure there are a lot of other states that have a high cesarean rate because the United States in general has a high cesarean rate. So if you look at the World Health Organization, they say about, I think, 15% of the time there should be some type of intervention. They don't even specify that it should be a cesarean, but they do specify that there should be some type of intervention. And so there's some reasons why we see a high rate of cesarean, and that is a high induction rates. Prenatally, we make suggestions to diet and lifestyle and changes that they make, and I just don't think that they're doing that in the doctor's office anymore, which is really discouraging. Like if you have an individual who has like elevated blood pressures or, you know, something like that, instead of talking to them about diet, lifestyle, immediately it is induction or cesarean. And so I think that's like, I think it's just really hard to have a baby without that genuinely being on the table, that you could potentially have a surgical delivery. And we're not saying anything is wrong with the surgical delivery. We would just like to see it happening less.
And only medically necessary.
Yes, and with individuals who are laboring with their consent, allowing them to be part of that decision. There is a website that you can go to and you can find out what your local hospital's cesarean rates are. What happens is for a lot of years is women would get a cesarean and then they were told that they had to have a repeat cesarean. So some women never even got another trial of labor, they just got several cesareans, but there was risk that comes with that.
It is a major abdominal surgery. It
is
is something that should be your go-to.
And if you're doing it several times, like if you want to have 4 children, like that should not be. So what ACOG stated is that a woman after cesarean should have the opportunity to have a vaginal delivery.
It says a trial of labor after cesarean first.
Trial of labor.
Trial of labor, which is kind of half-baked, but whatever.
Now, what our hospitals have done here is hired laborists. And so all of our hospitals, every single one of them has
an OBGYN.
We have laborists in the hospital that are there all the time, and so women can come in laboring as a VBAC and have that ability. Why would the medical field be so worried and concerned about an individual who is attempting to have a vaginal birth after cesarean?
Well, the big scare, the big one, is uterine rupture. That's what they're really scared of.
Right.
However,
it happens like
it's less than 2% of the time.
I was going to say 1 to like 2%.
In fact, what's crazy is I've heard of women having uterine ruptures who've never even had a cesarean. So like, it's just crazy to me. I want to be like, there is risk with some of these things when you're introducing things like Pitocin, breaking waters. And
well, and that's the thing. Like when you add in more intervention, like when you add in Pitocin, that makes contractions stronger. You're going to see uterine ruptures more often.
Well, and it is crazy to me because there are physicians here that require a client to be induced so that they can monitor their labor, and they require like an internal monitor. They require
an IUPC.
Yep. And what's annoying about that is they're introducing Pitocin, and they're not really talking about that increased risk that comes with that intervention.
They just redid numbers, and at least the new numbers, and it was 0.87. So it's not even at 1% for a first attempt of labor after cesarean. I think it was a little over 1% after the second one. So we're talking about such a small risk to begin with.
But I think it was close to 4%.
Once you introduce Pitocin. Correct, yeah, because it doubled that.
So there's risk anytime you're doing any kind of intervention. you have some options.
You do. It's true.
One is hire a home birth midwife.
Probably your
Because
best option.
home birth midwives support it like unequivocally. We have seen them happen time and time again. If we leave the body alone, allow it to go into labor, we have seen it. And so to me, that's my number one thing with VBACs is allowing them to go into labor on their own.
Which is sometimes the reason why they had one to begin with.
Right.
Because they were induced. And so if we allow individuals and then we trust kind of that process and we know what to look for, I think that home birth midwives know what normal looks like.
We're good at that.
I kind of pride myself in knowing what normal looks like
Yeah.
and this ability to determine when something
It's our
becomes
superpower. Normalcy. Option 2.
interview care providers that have hospital privileges. And so by interviewing them and knowing what kind of questions to ask, Sarah, what kind of questions would you recommend that somebody ask?
Knowing what the prerequisites for getting one is. Like, am I allowed to go past my due date? Like,
Yeah.
am I going to need an IUPC, which is an intrauterine pressure catheter? Do I have to have my water broken? Like, what are the stipulations
Yeah.
in order to
What is the
actually have
fine
a
print
VBAC?
say?
Am I allowed to be induced? Am I not allowed to be induced? Because sometimes they'll say, well, you're not allowed to be induced or not comfortable with Pitocin, but if you go past your due date, that means an automatic section.
Make sure that you are in a relationship where you feel like they truly want to see you accomplish that goal.
There's nothing worse than having a mom come to me at like 37, 38, sometimes 39 weeks going, my doctor said I could have a VBAC, but today at my appointment, he has decided that I can't if I don't have a baby like tomorrow.
And another aspect that can help you if you wanted to attend a hospital delivery and have a VBAC is to hire a doula. Tori, you want to tell them what a doula is?
Doula is a person who is there for your physical comfort, emotional, and educational support.
What a doula would do was they would help you be able to labor at home for a little while and go to the hospital and you feel comfortable doing that.
And they're there to answer questions.
They're there to answer
and
questions.
they have good evidence-based information on VBACs.
There is an organization called ICAN, which is the International Cesarean Awareness Network. We will link that down below, and there's a lot of really great studies, information, resources.
Because I do feel like sometimes we go into the hospital and I get clients who, maybe it's a doula client typically, who is trying for a VBAC, and one nurse will be like, oh, it's policy that you have to have an epidural placed in order to have a VBAC. And then the next nurse will be like, no, that's not true. So I think going in with like a confidence, know what you're talking about, know the risks, know the benefits, so that you can be your own advocate and you can kind of say like, no, I don't need an epidural. No, I don't need this. This is what the evidence says. And be that advocate for yourself, or make it your partner's job to be that advocate, or have conversations with your doula and how that relationship works as well.
But I think even more importantly, that confidence, having that for yourself, because I
Oh, for
so
sure.
many times have like
For
a
sure.
VBAC client come in and go, I think I might want this. And to me, that's really hard because it's
Right.
all about like your ability to think that you're capable of doing something, that helps you do that. And I think that's one of the lovely things about midwifery care is we get to spend so much more time with our clients. So there's a lot of processing that takes place
Yeah.
and potential healing from the trauma of the first. Some women that I hear from, some of their biggest regrets of the cesarean is that separation between mom and baby. And so breastfeeding took longer, or bonding that women talk about took longer. And so I think that confidence has to happen both ways. It has to happen for you in the hospital so that you know what questions to ask and that you're ready to defend yourself if need be. But I think you also have to have the desire to know that this is something that you really want. How you can get that confidence is visiting websites, surrounding yourself by individuals who are positive and supportive and know that you're able to do that. And that's why I think interviewing and to having a real kind of authentic conversation with the care provider and finding out not even just the specifics that come with having what their policies are, but what do they feel about them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because if you go in and the doctor's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, I guess I'll let you have a VBAC, like, it's probably not. But if you get a doctor who's like, oh yeah, I do VBACs all the time. I trust women's bodies to do that. That's okay. And there's a difference in that care that you're going to
100%.
receive.
I highly recommend, no matter how many numbers of cesareans that you've had, that you interview a midwife. even if it's just an individual who would love and support you as you are kind of going through your pregnancy and exploring your options and your choices, because even if we were to not be comfortable taking that on, we certainly would support you and visit what your options are and healing from what that is and making that a more positive experience. And how can we, even if we go into and have a repeat, maybe it's that we get that skin to skin, or that we request some different aspects. Like nowadays they have like clear drapes. And even if you are opting for a repeat cesarean because you're high risk, I think that a midwife could certainly play a really big role, or a doula, to kind of help women feel supported, because some women have no choice. They're too high risk, and that's what they have to have is a repeat. And so that's what our job is as midwives, is risking individuals out so that they are low risk women. And right now we definitely consider women after one cesarean a low risk client. We honestly believe that the data supports that statement. It's only after 2, 3, 4 we kind of start, we would have to feel really good about those choices. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and you may or may not find somebody in the community that will support that, but I want you to feel like you're in control and you can find a care provider that supports you in your choices. So if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to post them down below, because we do go on and we monitor and ask questions. That is it for us. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe. If you have had a VBAC, share with us down below what has helped you feel like you had a successful VBAC, and tell your story actually in general. Like if you didn't have a successful VBAC, we'd love to hear from you, and what could have been done better, and could have been communication, or share your story down below. We love to hear from individuals who are trying to make choices where they're taking back their own power. Share down below. We'll go and we'll find you and we'll talk to you online, and
we'll be online friends.
We'll be besties. Ring Tori's bell.
Ring the bell.
Let's go to a show tonight. I heard that.
No, I need sleep, woman. I need sleep.
I'm empowered.
My vagina's been empowered.
Speaking to me. What?
What? You want to push a baby out?
You want to push a baby out?
I feel like I need a water break. Where's my assistant? I need an assistant on the set.
I just feel like my eye won't stop twitching. I feel like we're talking about some stuff, OBGYN.
Who is?
But
I know OBGYN.
Hello, we're filming.
Oh yeah, we were filming.
We're tired. We went to lots of birds.
We went to a lot of birds. I'm authentically tired right now.
I'm real tired. Sarah might have got. Did you get very much sleep?
I got a little bit, but
She got muy poquito.